How do Jesus' words, that those most in need and persecuted are the ones who are blessed and to whom the kingdom of heaven belongs, impact how you see your life? Which of the Beatitudes rings in your spirit the loudest? During this time, the Roman Empire was a hierarchical society with no middle class. A few powerful men and their families ruled. In effect, their reign influenced the values of society. As an advocate for the lower class, Jesus offered a new value system which favored their daily experience. Jesus teaches his followers to go beyond the values of the world and embrace his values, thus altering their concepts of blessings and rewards. And that brings us to our key verse for today, which reads, "Be happy about it, be very glad, for a great reward awaits you in heaven. And remember, the ancient prophets were persecuted in the same way." Matthew chapter 5, verse 12. What society had deemed as valuable does not equate to true value in the lessons of Jesus. Jesus calls the disciples to sacrifice a value system rooted in self-centeredness and material possessions, for one that calls individuals into closer relationships with Jesus and their neighbor. The teacher shows us our value does not depend on our material possessions when he promises the kingdom of heaven to those who are destitute. Jesus sets the foundation for the value system that must be embraced to gain access to the kingdom of heaven. Jesus is concerned about the position of our heart, not our position in society. This is why he highlights those who mourn, the meek, those who desire righteousness, the merciful, the pure in heart, and those who make peace. Jesus highlights the characteristics of a person whose attitude is not self-centered or pessimistic. Ultimately, he is describing the attitude and character of a follower of Christ. Using these first 7 statements about character traits, the disciples and readers can check their own attitude. We cannot fully understand the value of the blessings associated with each character trait without checking our own attitude. By taking on Jesus' new value system, our worldview shifts and our actions change. Deciding to apply Jesus' teaching to our own life does not come without a cost. Sacrificing societal values and the dominant worldview makes one stand apart from the rest. Choosing to follow Jesus means committing to living your life in a way that does not always please other people. Jesus reminds us of the cost associated with taking on this new way of life. People may revile us, make negative comments, and persecute us simply because we choose to embody righteousness. Even with the right attitude, it can be difficult to endure these type of actions. Jesus urges his disciples to rejoice with exceeding gladness, even in the face of their tribulations. He gives 2 reasons why the disciples should have this reaction. The first is that they will be greatly rewarded for their faith, that their reward will be great in heaven. It should be noted that this reward is not a rite of passage into the kingdom. Rather, it demonstrates that God is faithful and just to reward those who are faithful and endure to the end. The second reason the disciples can rejoice in tribulation is that they are in the same company with the Old Testament prophets before them who were likewise persecuted. Here's our lesson. The Beatitudes do not imply that Christians or believers should seek persecution, nor does it permit them to retreat from it or exact revenge for it. Rather, it speaks of the Christian's call to steadfast faith in the Lord under any and all circumstances. While our circumstances may not change, and we do not have to allow societal values to dictate how we respond to unfortunate situations. Rather, the Beatitudes are instructions on how to faithfully respond with a new attitude that is rooted in our covenant with God. This week, let's identify which Beatitude we struggle with the most and why. Also, let's look for biblical examples of how this value is lived out. And let's ask God to check our attitude and change our behavior. Thank you so much for listening and subscribing to iLights. Heavenly Father, fill our hearts with what we truly desire, for who we truly seek is you.